And here we are again for this class 7 as part of o seu clique no inglês. And I'm very excited to start talking about conditionals. But look, what are conditionals and why are they important? Let's see. Conditionals are sentences that can be divided into two parts, but not all of them. Many of them can be divided in two parts. One of these parts, starts with an if. Okay. This is the condition. It's in red here and in red here. Can you see the if here? So this is the condition. The other part is the result. In blue, this is the result. So, if I have a chance is the condition for this to happen. Okay? If I have a chance, I will go abroad is here. Go abroad is to go to a different country, right? You can travel in Brazil, or you can travel to a different country. Go abroad is when you travel to a different country. So if I have a chance, I will go abroad this year is a conditional sentence because there is an if in one of the parts of the sentence, right? And this is what we're going to study. Okay. There are there are more than three, but we're going to focus on the three most important types of conditional. The first conditional, the second conditional, and the third conditional. Okay, there is the zero conditional and there is the mixed conditional, but I prefer not to concentrate on them right now. I chose the three conditionals that I mentioned because they were the ones that caused me more problems when I was studying, right? So I think this is something we can focus on and it's gonna bring you a lot of benefit, right, in this moment, right, for your click to come. So the first in this class, the first class of conditionals, we're going to see the first and the second. Okay? What is the first conditional? It is a sentence that is about a possible future action or state, right? If I have a chance, I will go abroad this year. This is go abroad is an action, right? Will go abroad is a future, right? A future that is possible. The other name that the first conditional has is future possible, okay? So if I have a chance, I will go abroad this year. This is the formula of the first conditional. You have the if. In the part of the sentence that the if is, you're going to see the verb in the present, right? Have is a verb in the present. Okay? If I have, if I do, if I am, okay? If I play, if I go out, if I go to the club, if I go to the beach, right? This is the condition for the future with will to happen, right? I will go abroad this year, but I need a chance. If I have a chance, I will go abroad. If not, if I don't have a chance, I won't go abroad. Okay? So this is the condition for this future to materialize. This is the first conditional. Future possible. Okay? If present, future, if present, will and the verb. Okay? And the second conditional is a sentence that is about an unreal situation in the present. What is that, Tamer? Let's see an example. If I had a chance, I would go abroad this year. It's very similar to the first one. But if you remember, in the first one, this was present, right? And now it's past. If I had a chance. In the first one, in the first conditional, this was will. And now it's would, right? I would go abroad this year. Here, right, we are saying that it's an unreal situation in the present. So what is the real situation? What is the reality? The reality is I don't have a chance. Okay? Because I don't have a chance, I won't go abroad this year. This is the reality. But I am dreaming. This is my imagination. Okay? If I had a chance, I would go abroad this year. In the if part of the sentence, the verb is in the past. Look, this is the past of have, right? And in the other part, the verb is in the conditional. And the conditional is would and the verb, no to. Yes? No to after will, no to after would. They are modal verbs, they don't take to, right? So I would go abroad this year if I had a chance. Temer, can I use Portuguese to understand the conditionals? Well, look, your Portuguese needs to be excellent. You need to conjugate verbs really well to make this happen for you, right? If you are good, right, at Portuguese verb conjugation, then it's fine. But if you're not so good, as I wasn't so good when I was studying this as an intermediate student, what really worked for me was when I started using these formulas. Yes, then, right? If present future, if past conditional, this is when things started working out for me. Because as a teenager, student, right? High school student, I wasn't so good at verb conjugation. And then when I translated, what happened was that I made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes. Plus, I didn't learn the mechanics in the conditional sentences. And I made lots of mistakes. Consequently, I didn't believe that I was capable, I was able to know this, to learn this, and to use this. So this marked the moment that I started I started thinking that I wasn't cut out for English. I wasn't made to speak English and to be good at English, right? It was the beginning of my disappointment because I was doing the wrong thing, right? So until there was a moment when one of my teachers stopped the class, then again, there is always one who's going to stop everything, spot the problem, identify the problem, the grammar problem, and then, okay, let's stop everything and let's focus on this now. Yes, and this is what happened to me. One of my teachers stopped the class, wrote the sentences with the formulas and said, go home, okay, erase all the exercises that you have in this book, erase everything and do them again. But when you do these exercises again, you're going to focus on the formulas. Yes? Don't translate. Focus on the formulas. And this is what I am going to teach you. Use the formulas. They're good for you. Okay? They're going to help you master this. And with great command in this, or with a good command of this, you surely are going to speak English better, to understand more and speak English better. Okay? In the second conditional, when the verb in the condition, in the if part of the sentence, is be, the verb be, it is were that needs to be used. Actually, this is not the past, right? We like to say it's the past because the only difference between the past and the subjunctive, which is the real name of this verb tense, is the verb be, right? That in American English, or what used to be called American English, is were for everybody, right? if I were, if she were, if they were, right? And in what used to be called British English, it's different, right? In American English is were for everybody, but in British English you can use the past of the verb be, right? If I was, if he was, if she was, if they were, normally, right? The only exception, the only thing you need to pay attention is that you can use were for those that normally the past would be was. So if you're doing an exercise, if you're doing a test, look at the options. Probably you won't have was and were, because then you would have two possible answers in a question, right? But if there is were, don't consider it a mistake, right? In American English, it's were for everybody, right? In the subjunctive. If I were a millionaire, I would go abroad this year, right? Se eu fosse, okay? Se eu fosse rico, se eu fosse milionário, eu viajaria. Yes? Viajaria. I think it's pro tudo do pretérito, right? Em português. And this is the subjunctive too, right? Se eu fosse, se tu fosse, se ele fosse, se nós fôssemos, se vós fosseis, se eles fossem. You see, Portuguese is much more complicated. You have a lot more varieties, a lot more conjugations, right? Different verb forms than in English. English is much simpler. Yes? Try to tell this, right, to yourselves. Tell these to reinforce this idea. Repeat this to yourselves. Okay? So again, if past for the verb be were, yes, subjunctive. If past, conditional. Conditional again, would and the verb, no to. Okay? Let's practice, because this is what's gonna make you much better. Okay? I put the formulas here, okay, so you can look at them. Yes? And what is the strategy? When you're doing an exercise like this one, you have one part of the sentence, you have the verb that you need to use, and the other part is there, right? Conditionals have two parts, so the other part is going to be there for you to start thinking, right? First of all, if it's a conditional exercise, if you identify, oh, this is a conditional, first thing you need to do is to find the if, right? The if in this first sentence is here. You know that there are two possible verb tenses for this part, the present and the past. So you're going to look at the verb that comes after if, right? In the if part of the sentence. If you ask is present. So it's if present. The other part is will, right? Future with will. So you're going to use this verb in the future with will. So they will do everything they can if you ask them. Okay? One more time. Where is the if? Here. Okay? This is the if. Find the if first. And then look at the verb tense that comes right after the if. Has. Present. Okay? If he has a headache, if present, future with will. Will see. Tony will see a doctor if he has a headache. Okay. Yes? Now, one more example. The if, not always the if is in the middle of the sentence, like in these two exercises, in these two items here. In this one, the if is at the beginning of the sentence. Is it possible? Yes. It's only a different sequence. But you need to pay attention that when the if part of the sentence, when the if clause, right, is here at the beginning of the sentence, you will see this comma here. Because the natural sequence for the sentence is the if clause at the end. If you bring the if clause, this is the if clause, right? A clause is a part of a sentence. If you bring the if clause to the front of the sentence, you are changing its position. Like in Portuguese, when we do this, we need to use a comma, right? It's the same rule that we have in Portuguese. If my cousin were be in Brasilia, we would meet more frequently. Would is here, right? So what you need, in the if part, you're going to use the past. But here it's be. So be is were for everybody. If my cousin were in Brasilia, we would meet more frequently. Okay, yes. Just to check out, right? Double check. If my cousin, se meu primo, be, estivesse, morasse em Brasília, aqui em Brasília, we would meet more frequently. A gente ia se encontrar mais frequentemente. Make sense? Yes? Continue. If is not at the beginning, if is in the middle, it's here, and after if there is didn't live. Didn't live, you must remember from last class, right? Talking about auxiliary verbs, we saw that didn't is the negative of the simple past. Okay? Past here, if past, you need the conditional. Would, so Pedro and I would meet a lot more if we didn't live in different cities. Pedro is a friend of mine who lives in Anápolis, right? We have been friends for a long time. So, Pedro e eu, nos encontraríamos muito mais se nós não morássemos em cidades diferentes. Okay? Make sense? That's it, right? You can use Portuguese as a bonus, right? As a plus. You don't need it. You don't need it. If you work with the formulas, this is enough, right? To bring you the confidence you need to go on learning. Yes? To go on doing the exercise, to go on doing the test. This question is done. Let's go. Let's go. Right? Let's not stop to think and translate. Translation is only if you're really insecure about what you're doing, right? Oh, but could I have here, if my cousin was in Brasilia? Yes, as I said, you have two options. In American English, it would be were for everybody here, but in British English, was is acceptable too, because cousin is he or she, right? It can be primo or prima, so he or she. And he or she in English in the past is was. Okay? The big question is this, but do they use it? The answer is yes. They use it a lot. Yes? And this is so common on tests because you see, there each sentence you have two verb tenses, right? So the chances for you to make mistakes, the chances for you to not do the right thing are very high. Okay? And because they use it a lot. People who organize exams are going to make sure you are familiar and that you have good command of this structure, right? The conditional. Okay, so we saw in this class, we saw the first and the second. There is a quiz, right, as part of this class. Do the quiz, see if it's all right for you. If it's not all right, go to your books. The book I showed you, English Grammar and Use, there is a unit only about this, the first and the second conditional. As of the next one, the third conditional that we're going to study in our next class, then it combines the third conditional with another structure that we're going to study right after we finish the conditionals. Wish clauses, right? And it's great to put them together because it makes you organize your ideas in English. And this is one of the most important things for you if you're really looking forward to speaking English more fluently, right? And I'm sure you're going to do this, right? This is the end of class 7. and I'll see you soon for class 8 and conditionals 2.